All right, so
Yeah,
why don't we
I
jump into
actually did
it?
listen.
Sorry, go ahead. We have Matt actually here. Can you hear? Can we hear you?
Yeah,
There we go.
hopefully.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay,
Perfect.
good. Looks like you're working.
What's up, Matt?
Hello. Yeah, I couldn't hear anyone earlier. That's why I quickly disconnected.
Yeah, well, it sounds like we're good. I can see you on my end. So, do you want to give a quick introduction to yourself, or should I?
You can. I don't really
All
have
right.
much. I
Yeah.
don't have much to say.
Not a problem, I do. So this is Matt DeLucas, also known as Merfight Games. They're the primary developer on Merfight, as well as Battle High, and soon to be several other games. They're working on a couple other games on the background. And today is the day that they're releasing Merfight into the wild out of early access. So we wanted to give them a chance to get on here, sort of talk with us through some of their design choices, maybe, or at least their thoughts on the game, and obviously just shower them in praise the entire time. So there we go. I think that's a good enough intro for you, Matt.
Sure, sounds good.
Perfect. All right, so let's jump into the meat and potatoes here. I know we've been waiting about 15 minutes, and I apologize for that, but I wanted to talk about the tier list today. Now, we had some apprehensions, right? Some folks were like, hey, I only really know my character. I'm going to be guessing a lot of this. We are all guessing, right? Like even Matt. The person who developed this game is still, I assume, guessing in regards to how strong or weak the characters are comparatively. So, not only are tier lists fun, but I think they help engender some enthusiasm for the community, right? Like, that's one of the first things new players will look up. So even if it is kind of superfluous, right? Like, there really isn't a competitive scene, and we don't have as much numbers to really validate these opinions, but there's definitely a feeling, right, to how good or bad certain characters are. And I can't speak for everyone here, but I'm going to just start off by saying I don't think anyone is garbage in this game. I think everyone is playable. Everyone is fun. There may be certain situations where some player or characters are better than others, just like in certain ways, right? Fulfilling a certain role. But I don't think there's any trash tier. And I don't think there's any like god tier, 10-0 matchups, but there are some S tier characters for sure, and we'll get into that. I guess my question to you folks, and for chat, if you folks are quick enough on the draw, should we start at the bottom or the top? Or should we go one and then the other? Or should we just go down the list?
I feel like it might be good to bracket the tier to set expectations. And yeah, I'm not as into like the end result, but I think the process of discussing a tier list is good, because then we kind of discuss like how well things have been explored. Like, I'll get into this when we get to them individually, but like, for example, I think Arctina is a very heavily explored character.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think even after all this time, Angelique is still fairly unexplored, and we don't have people who have yet brought out her full potential, whatever that is.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fun. It's informative. Excuse me. It's been a while, and I think it's going to be interesting one way or the other. So, let's start off. I think we'll just go down the list. Right, they're in an order already, and we will put them wherever we think they belong. I'm gonna just start off, venture to guess that you folks think Arctina is somewhere between S and A. And before we get too deep into each character, I do want to mention, I want to talk a little bit about each one too, right? It's not just about where they're placed, but why. So,
yeah.
Do you folks disagree generally?
Yeah, I was about to say, I do feel that I feel like I would personally rank Arctina as A, but I can see arguments for her in S, and I think I am one of the resident Arctina mains, so I'm just more acutely aware of her flaws as somebody who plays her, so I could be overestimating them. Yeah. I think, so just to set the stage, obviously, Arctina has a kit that I would consider fundamentally good in that she has safe 50-50 mix-ups from full screen.
Yeah.
Like if she's at full screen, you can still be mixed up. She doesn't have any projectiles, but her range is big enough that in a sense she doesn't really need them, but she also doesn't enjoy fighting projectile characters because they do kind of beat her at her own game there. It's like closer range, she has some good. Her buttons aren't spectacular, but I find that like when I stop instinctively going for heavy and press the lights, I can push people off me a bit.
Yeah, she's not
is-
totally screwed if you get in on her, but she's less than other characters.
Yeah, and also she is one of the, I think she might be the only character without a reversal super now. So she does.
Do you mean a
legitimately have
good
less
one,
options.
or do you mean just not one at all? Because doesn't
No,
she have
literally
the
does
she
not
doesn't
have
have the
it.
ice one
'Cause
when she wakes up?
The icicle super is no longer her reversal.
Oh.
Her reversal is the jump kick now,
So she just doesn't have
which
one.
does not have a
period.
super version.
That sounds like a bug.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's on purpose.
No.
Matt, can you call that out?
No, we've discussed this. Matt has talked about this, I think.
Okay, great, good to hear. I'm glad it's not a bug and more a definitive decision. But
yeah, there's
yeah,
no like super reversal wake ups. It's just there's just the wake up reversal thing that does wipe out, and hers is not the icicle anymore. It's just the flash kick.
But you can still buffer any super on wake up within what 3 frames. So you have 6 frames to buffer a super.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's
Yeah.
you can quickly do a super on wake up, but it doesn't act any differently.
Sure.
Like,
And none of
the others.
hers have iframes, so effectively she has no wake up super.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot more sense to me. Okay. And if anybody has any
Yeah,
questions about what we
and,
just said, that's just how the wake up system works.
Yeah, and I think, yeah. So again, going over like her basic properties, it's also notable that she's one of the few characters who can combo after a throw, only her back throw, and it does require strict timing, but it is a possibility, and it does mean that she, again, can still be a threat to you up close while also doing safe mix-up, also just breaking through your guard full screen.
I do want to...
And then she's also got...
sorry, Will. I just want to mention, I think most characters can combo off their grabs, except for Atlas. But continue.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was the other way around.
No, that's okay. It's kind of evolved over time.
Yeah, that's the issue. I've been with this game so long that I sometimes remember earlier versions of it.
Yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, and then you know, like she's also got good corner carry. I think a weakness she has developed over the course of early access is that with the Rekka scaling, there are times where she's a little too far out of range to follow up some of her attacks with the super without using the Rekka, which scales it, so then you need to use a pop cancel to get the most damage out of it. So
A little bit of math you have to
more
play.
reliant-
Yeah.
Yeah, she's going a bit more reliant on having the resources to pump in for the good damage. And I also do think that other characters have also just gotten better tool or just better ways of approaching her. Like fighting Octonia used to feel like a pretty easy matchup to me, but when we were playing earlier, MKL, who's sort of been the resident Octonia expert, did a really good job of getting in against me.
Well, yeah, Matt just buffed her tentacle by a significant degree. I think it recovers like 10 frames faster or something like that. So, and that was her best tool in that matchup. So I definitely think that Arctina's the kind of character who is really easy to pick up and has a very effective sort of low-level game plan. You know, that's not to say that it's like it doesn't take skill, but it's pretty easy to pick up the character and go, oh, okay, I can high-low from mid-screen. That's very effective, right? And other characters, I think it's just taking the community a little bit longer to get to that level of, you know, what is their most simple and effective gameplay and how can I replicate it every match? I think a lot of people are still kind of playing around with their characters and going, oh, well, this move is cool. Yeah, well, is it part of your tool set? You know, that kind of thing. Whereas you pick up Arctina and it's pretty easy to see where things go. But I'm gonna posit that we leave her there unless Rave has any objections, and then come back to the choices that we've made a little bit after we've already, you know, put some other things on the board for reference, right? I think it makes sense to contextualize it a bit.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, I have no objections. I don't think she's S tier personally, just because of pop roll as a defensive mechanic. You can, because she has big buttons, so it's easier to like if you do pop in, like if you're in the middle of heavy punch, when she throws it out and you pop roll it, there's not really much she can do to stop you.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. If you're willing to spend the resources, you can force your way in, and she has to think about that. So pressing heavy buttons they're good at first, and they're really good at like max strength, but like if you're careless, you kind of get hit for it. And I think that a lot more players have been using it more, because I remember Sylvie Hoist mentioned it, like how I use it a lot, and when he fought Matt used it a lot on him, and it was worrying because it's easy for someone that shouldn't get in, like Octonia, to get in, or someone like Neko to get in on you, because they just have like one resource to get in.
For sure.
Like you have to play like just like Toast, like Sam Show, a very Sam Showy game, and kind of keep them at bay.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I love seeing Toast play this game. But I totally agree with you there. She's gotten better over time too, right? So it's one of those things where she's pretty easy to pick up, and she's gotten better. There have been nerfs, but I don't exactly know whether those have evened out or not. But all right, so next,
I do feel
go
the
ahead.
Icicle nerf was
Yes,
significant.
it was, yeah.
But she's still good.
Yeah,
Undoubtedly. All right, so next is Atlas. I'm going to go ahead and put him in B. I don't know if anybody has any objections there, but I'm going to just start off real quick. Just say he's a fairly good all-around character. You know, he has a fairly simple game plan, strong specials, not the best supers in the world, but also has access to one of the only level 2s in the game. So, yeah, he's notable.
Yeah, I think it's also... I like just starting off by listing the unique traits, and so I think Atlas has a very good and interesting stance thing with the healing pillars.
Yep.
Because that does give him a special affinity towards timer scam type stuff too, but
it also just forces your opponent,
aggressive.
Right? It makes them make a decision.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like approaching this from the perspective of fighting as Arctina, those pillars can prevent me getting in, because I find that actually I can get hit even on heavy punch.
Yeah.
If he explodes the pillars.
He's got a big
and
range.
then he can get in and feel oppressive.
Yeah, no doubt. He's got one of the best uppercuts in the game too. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but a lot of forward-moving normals, right? Like he has standing heavy punch. That's kind of a drill punch together with his actual drill punch. He can cover a lot of screen distance. He also has the duck, right, with his command move. He kind of like ducks under fireballs and can punish with either of his punch supers or punch specials. So I think he has a lot of play to him. He's a fairly simple character if you want to just jump in and pick somebody.
His throw is the only throw in the game that gives you a hard knockdown, which lets you set up pillar for free. Mm-hmm. And it's also to be noted that his pillar, if your opponent uses it, right, it heals them too. But for them healing, he gets armor. He gets a hit of armor, and that with like we said with his forward advancing normals, if you give him armor, then he's coming at you. He's gonna run at you.
It's like if you block against him, he's gonna open you up anyway, right? He has so many ways to mix you up. But if you give him armor, you're like, well, now I have to block, and all of a sudden his game plan is just, it's not free, but it's definitely a whole new different angle.
Yeah,
and on top of that, the best heavy kick in the game, jump heavy kick in the game too.
For sure.
Yeah, and then there's also the fact that his pillars can effectively double as mines if they're fast enough. Like, I've even seen the AI use the pillars to destroy projectiles.
Then you can do air pillar now.
And I just had a match earlier where I was fighting an Atlas, and they had their pillar of light down on the corner, and so I was comboing them, but they were healing a bit through it. So like, there's a way that they can sort of turn being cornered to their advantage even.
It's also the only burst in the game, if you want to think of it like that. Because if you have your beam out and you're getting comboed in the corner and your opponent's sitting in your beam, all of a sudden you gave armor during their combo and you fall out. So it's kind of like an Aquaman trait if you're familiar with Injustice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It gets pretty deep, but hey, that's what happens. All right. Next character on this list, I'm going to throw him up in A. This is Young Man Bolt.
First.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead on Atlas.
Yeah, first I was just thinking, I think we should explain why Atlas I don't think we kind of dug into his weak points enough to explain why
Oh,
we
yeah.
put him lower than Arctina. So.
Sure. He doesn't have
So,
anything
like, what do we think his
explosive.
whole...
I don't think he has anything that like really changes the game. He has damage, he has defense, but in this, you look at the character we're going to talk about right now, who has damage, defense, and more, right? So I don't think
Okay.
what he has is bad. I just don't think he has enough to bring to the table to make him shine over other characters.
Okay, got it. So the assessment is jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
pretty good.
I think the fact that like he does have the level 2 and it does a lot of damage and he can combo out of it,
Yeah.
but you have to spend more resources than other characters who like Arctina spends 1 bar, she gets a combo, right? A lot of characters spend a bar, they get a combo continue they can continue a combo. He has to spend 2. So you
And
have
that's
to
his
spend a
only
lot
way to
more
do it.
resources
Yeah, exactly.
for damage, for combos, continuations.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. All right. So as I was saying with Bolt, he is kind of the Guile Blanca character in this game. He's the charge character with a ball and a fireball. So, I mean, I'm putting him in A just because, like Arctina, he has a very, very effective low-level strategy. Right? You throw fireballs and flash kicks when you need to. If the opponent's getting too tricksy, you throw out a Blanca ball. Right? Like you don't have to do too much to be effective with Bolt. But at the same time, if you want to get really crazy with him, he's got nuts offense for a character who's also got nuts defense, right? I think that's all I need to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way of doing it. Bolt can set up very aggressive projectile pressure, and then with his Blanca ball and stuff, he's also just very slippery, so he can just hide in the corner, and he doesn't really need to worry about being locked into the corner because he can just air Blanca ball out or grounded his way out, or use a heavy super as covered, heavy super electro ball to get out.
Yeah, I mean, I think he gets a 3-way mix-up on a Blanca ball with pop cancel, right? Because you can do the fireball, and then pop cancel. You either hit on like one side or the other, or you hit high or low, depending on what you pop cancel out of, or you just grab, and that gets you a combo anyway. So yeah, that's a dirty mix-up if you really want it to. And Blanca ball can hit meaty cross-up, so.
Yeah, the Arctina versus Bolt matchup is one that's always been a bit of a challenge for me. It was basically my first major hurdle to overcome in this game, so I've got a lot of attachment to this one in particular.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, any last thoughts on Bolt? I mean, we'll come back and reorder the top tiers to make it more.
His projectile super is very, very intimidating.
Oh yeah,
how he followed behind it. He can shoot it out, follow behind it, and now you're scared. You can't attack him because you get hit, and then he gets a combo.
It's also one of the only multi-hits fireballs too.
Yeah, you're blocking. He can mix you from that.
Yeah,
it's just something
you
gotta worry about.
He can do like Ash Crimson combos and juggle you on top of his ball too, which is hilarious.
Just scary.
Yeah, no doubt. And speaking of scary, we have Drargos next. I'm gonna say Drargos is like A tier, but bottom of A. That's contentious though. I'm sure there's some folks in chat who would disagree with me. What do you folks think? I started off most of the time, so why don't you start off?
Well, I'll just say that for me, obviously, when I think Dragos, I think of the player who repped him for a while and did really well, even as Dragos got nerfed a bit as a result.
We're talking about Cadirius, right?
Yep, exactly.
Here we go.
He was, but yeah, where it's like, I think Dragos is kind of like Arctina, in that they've kind of had some wings clip, but they're still powerful regardless.
Yeah.
Like now you need, like I think like Arctina, he also has an ability that can be considered sort of fundamentally good in that he can alter the boundaries of the stage. So now he loses it when he gets knocked down, I believe.
Yes.
Something like that. It's either knocked down or
when he
hard
gets knocked down,
down.
he loses it. Yeah.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, so like it's a very devious situation when he has a skeleton wall up and you have to deal with shadow balls bouncing back at you.
Yeah.
It just adds a lot to the mental stack for the opponent.
It's like Venom from Guilty Gear meets Aghanos from Killer Instinct meets Zappa from Guilty Gear, like so many
I was
other
thinking
things.
of
Yeah.
Morgan from Marvel when she gets
Morgan, too.
Astral Vision up.
For
and
sure.
You're just dealing with fireballs right
From both
in
sides,
front of
yeah.
you, behind you.
Yeah, and also I just thought of something for him that applies to Arctina as well as a powerful trait, which is that both have grounded moves that can transition into air supers.
Yeah,
So
grounded
that's the
moves that
where-
leave you
where it's
aerial.
not that difficult. Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure.
So it's not that difficult for either of them to use even their air supers from a grounded start, while other characters need to work for it more.
He also just has so much like movement, momentum stuff. You know, he can fly across the screen, jump on the wall, dive kick all over the place, throw fireball. So he takes setup, but otherwise, once you have that setup, he can really run a game on you.
Yeah, he's got that unique wall cling trait too.
Exactly.
He has a command grab too, so you can't just block him forever. That he gets a combo out of. Remember?
Yep, a Yun or Yang or Fei Long style command grab. Yeah, exactly.
That he gets to pick which side he wants. So.
No, I love that. I love that choice. All right, next character is
just joined us.
Okay, cool.
Hello.
Hi,
I hope
Sylv.
this isn't too many people.
No, this is great. Not a problem at all. Thanks for joining.
My boyfriend had me for a bit.
Not an issue.
All that stuff.
Good to hear.
Like, well, babe, I gotta play Merfight.
Gotta talk about Merfight. Come on.
Talk about fishes. He's like,
yeah,
right.
Merfight.
Yeah.
Well, we were just gonna jump over to Angelique. I'm gonna go up and say she's an A tier, maybe above Dragos, but behind Bolt. And I'll leave it at that. What do you folks think?
I feel like I want to see more. I feel like she can definitely zone and annoy people.
Yeah.
But I also feel like her strings are a bit weird. Like when I play her, I'm finding myself like, you do like a normal into like their not beast cannon. I don't know
Bubble cannon, yeah.
Yeah. And then it's like, okay, you're kind of open unless you have a pop. I'm probably just playing the character wrong, but
But both Sylv and I have mentioned that we're thinking about making Angelique a secondary. But I feel like, again, we haven't seen much of her, but when she has come out, I feel like she's been strong, and that's without really getting into her full set of projectiles.
I think.
Sorry.
That's what chime in on that. I think it's like character knowledge takes a good part in that. Does people see this character and they're like, what does she do? Oh, she's doing this jump. She's doing her jumping hard kick where it's just like, oh, it's so big.
It's like
What's
8
going
hits,
on?
But she's also got a big, ugly jump, like floaty jump, right? So you have to. There's that knowledge check of you have to know how to use hover to navigate her movement, right? And once you start doing that, once you unlock good movement with Angelique, I think you unlock the whole game because she has some crazy tech once you figure out how to do like, she can do tiger knees. No one else in the game can do tiger knees, but she can just because she can. So, you know what I mean? Like, there's that. And I know that they've been patched out, quote unquote, but you can't stop a character with a command hover. You know what I mean? She's going to do them. She's going to tiger knee. So, I mean, I just think she's got so much pressure, both ranged and up close. The only thing she doesn't have right now are optimal combos. I want to see how you do optimal combos with her, and once that's unlocked, I think she can, get the kill.
I don't know, like, what I haven't, when I was playing her a bit ago, I'm trying to remember. I don't think I ever figured out a wipeout combo with her.
Yeah.
It didn't, like, require too many resources or something like that.
That's an issue I find as well. A lot of her hits, while they do a lot of damage, are small hits that don't have a lot of wipeout. So, and a lot of it comes from supers, right? Which statistically, I think only do a certain amount of wipeout. So, all right.
I think her supers are definitely really good.
No doubt.
I think for me right now, I kind of want to, like, she could be A in the future. My brain is kind of leaning towards B a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Bottom of A.
Yeah, I feel like
closer to the top of B.
I feel like no matter where we put her, there has to be an asterisk attached to her. Essentially,
not enough data. Basically, we're all trying our best.
yeah, but I do feel that, like, I feel like in some way the projectile thing might have a level of complexity that does ultimately turn out against her, because it's a little hard to cycle to the exact one you want.
Yeah, you kind of have to pick two, I find, and cycle just back and forth.
That's exactly the game plan I've been thinking of, using the normal fireball and then the earth pebble, and just choosing my inputs purposely to cycle between them. But in a match, it can be hard to stick to even just that.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Sorry, go on.
No, yeah, you're gonna say another thing. I was gonna add on to the projectile thing, but
Please.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and also her parries, her like armor parry stance, shifts her fireball type as well.
right. I forgot about that.
It does, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
the thing-
it's just she's got a lot of those tools, right?
I would say, like, for her projectiles, I think her best ones are, I want to say it's there's the one that goes up, and there's the one that, like, lingers. I feel like those are just
those are really good. I think that's like yellow or orange and white. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's just like, all right, this is just out here. I remember when I first fought Matt's Angelic, and he cleaned the floor with me. With it, I was just like, oh, what, like, I'm losing these trades or whatever. I got better to, like, the next time I fought.
Sure.
I was just like, actually, it's like, oh yeah, I have a spear, just screen or whatever.
Yeah, I know it's not Morgan.
kind of beat him.
I know it's not Morgan, but if you want to play a really mean keep away game, all you have to do is jump, immediately hover, fireball. You're gonna land on the ground, immediately fireball again.
Yeah,
that's it.
I think why I see her in B is that I think Arctina is,
oppressive.
really, really good.
Yeah.
And in my mind, it's kind of like it feels a little weird to have Angelic and Arctina in the same tier, even if like they're at the other ends of A. But
for sure. Well, Rave, what about you? What do you think on this one?
I have very little knowledge on the character. I only know what I've seen. I know projectile is very hard to control. Like y'all was saying, I think the light one is the best because it just lingers there, so you can do whatever you want. But then if you fireball super right, it changes your orb too.
It does.
I don't know how that fully works. I
think it's random.
So it's like, I have no idea. It's like that's her main game plan is fireballs, but it's like you have so many ways to change fireballs, and keeping track of fireballs is so hard. Using her, I don't know what it's called but she goes in a U, right? And it gives you ground bounce.
Yeah.
Doing that in a combo's hard. I don't know how y'all get that in a combo.
It's tough.
I don't know how you get ground bounce and wall bounce. I don't know nothing. I think her combos are like 2 hits and that's it.
Yeah,
like
she has a good universal overhead though. She's like Octonia and Arctina.
Like, it goes far, just like
Arctina's.
Yeah,
exactly.
It goes very far. So she could, and her sweep is moving sweep, so you have to worry about that too. She has good buttons. That's why I'm not surprised that the 2 Arctina players want to go to another character with big buttons.
No, but she's good.
Big buttons going across the screen. My God.
The game is about hit spheres. Okay, we want big ones.
And they putting all the hit spheres. They're like, I may not have jump heavy punch anymore. Jump heavy kick. That's
that's good for sure. All right,
but yeah, I don't know fully about her either. I think she has a lot to unlock, but it's very hard to when it's like you're trying to learn, and then it's random, right? Fireball randomized.
Oh no, it's in a row.
It's in a cycle, but it is still.
No, but I mean like with fireball super, right? Like you
exactly.
And then like it randomizes, so now you gotta worry about that, and it's something else you're worried about, while other characters aren't having to worry about.
That's true.
An extra feature.
Yeah, it's like she's at a level of complexity where she needs to be really good for that to pay off.
Because you're jumping through those.
You are playing chess and your opponents are playing checkers. Not calling your opponent stupid, but you have to think.
Yeah, they don't have to think as hard.
about what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's like both Arctina and Angelique have easy, you can do a simple game plan with them, but Arctina's higher level is just much easier to unlock.
Yeah.
All right. I'll definitely say that's definitely the one thing holding Angelique back is difficulty.
Yeah, I mean, and that's going to come with time, right? We need more players.
It's like I I think there is a reason that we haven't seen like a dedicated Angelique main rise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's day one. You know what I mean? I know it's year 3 or 4 at this point of actual play, but we just don't have enough players picking her up. All right, to continue the conversation, we have Gamma, who I'm gonna put in B as well. I don't know what you folks think. I guess
feel like
yeah. Go ahead. Start
that
off,
seems
Sylvie.
right. I feel like that seems right. From what I played, I feel like Gamma could be a little. She has the armor that makes her scary, but I think
Yeah.
sometimes her, or their game plan could be a little simple from being like a grappler.
Mhm.
I can kind of see sometimes when I'm playing against someone who's playing Gamma and it's like, okay, they're gonna try and command grab me.
Yeah.
Kinda. There's like counters to that, but
And there's a lot of ways to play the character, right? Like I don't think any grappler in this game is as simple as Zangief or something. You know, although I like that kind of grappler. Everyone in this game has some game plan other than just their main tools, right?
right.
Yeah, and what I especially like is that I mentioned this earlier is that like all the grapplers do genuinely feel like just real characters. They can actually
For sure.
do things. It's not that they suck except for this one thing.
Mm-hmm.
They do have actual kits of substance here. Like Gamma has powerful command grabs, but he also has that dashing forward attack, which can cover the screen really quickly, and it can also hit medium. Yeah.
Yep.
And again, it's like, you know, he can basically come in out of nowhere to hit you with a low, forcing you to respect that. Then if you try to go, oh, it's a grappler, I'm not getting close, you just let them armor up.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think Gamma has a lot of tools. Another thing I want to point out: Arctina, Gamma, and Odon all have standing lows. So that's something you want to keep in mind. Those light standing lows are very effective.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to Gigi. Let's keep the pace.
Wait, I feel like.
Oh, go ahead. Go.
Sorry.
No, please.
I don't want to spend as much time as we did on Angelique, but just I do feel it's also worth to discuss what we think Gamma's weaknesses are.
Oh, sure. I think like anybody with big normals comes big responsibilities. So, you know, you can get whiff punished from further away just as much as you can whiff punish people. Some of their supers are difficult to combo together, but then Pirouette has the vacuuming effect that kind of offers a glue to your combo if need be. You know, there's some good and bad there, but I would say it's more good than bad.
Yeah, I think zoning, obviously, you're a grappler. So even though she can armor up, if you throw projectiles a lot, the armor can only do so much. It's just the general projectiles. Combo routing can be awkward due to the twirl kick, whatever it is.
Yeah, I've no idea.
Partitioning is awkward. Like I played a lot of Gamma, and it's just the charge partitioning can be awkward. The combo routing is awkward because you got to know ranges a bit more. But I don't think Gamma is anywhere near close to being a bad character. It's just routing, and then if you're getting zoned, like if you're fighting Bolt, you're just gonna log your way in.
It's not gonna be a good time, but you can just guerrilla and run in. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree with that. It's like the things aren't exactly cohesive, and then the classic zoner versus grappler RPS definitely applies. And
no, I'm not saying
we're downplaying. I see.
D is for downplaying. All right.
Let's move on to Gigi.
Yeah, let's go to Gigi. I'm actually gonna put her up here. I think she's above Jargos, below Vault. I'll start just because I think I play her a fair amount. She's a lot of fun. She has a short hop, which really opens up her neutral opportunities, right? She just has so much. Giving anyone an extra movement tool in a game so much about movement, it unlocks a ton, right? Lasers from afar. She's got really good mix-up tools, right? She has like the basic hit confirm into wall bounce or is blocked, so I go into an overhead, right? She has some of the best supers in the game that all link into each other and do a ton of damage. She has protagonist armor, right? So no matter how much I want Matt to nerf her, it won't happen. Although Matt has graciously done some things to make her less brain dead, so I appreciate that. But she definitely has that protagonist armor. And yeah, I'd say she's like Cammy meets Cyclops to some degree, right? A lot of fun, good character. All around strong, very hard to find a weakness. I wouldn't say she's amazing, but it's just like she just doesn't suck in all that many ways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She's definitely the best all around in the game. She can go from a zoner playstyle to a aggressive playstyle like Cammy with dive kick pop in. You kind of control a lot of things. You always worried about what she's doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, and also I personally found the laser beams especially difficult as an Arctina to deal with at times.
Especially that
because
she has air lasers too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like so many other projectiles are a fireball type, and then the lasers just sort of like immediately come out. So she really has to be like, no. I cannot let Gigi get far enough to use the laser beam. Need to get closer.
But if you get too
Just
close, she has
show
one of the
off
best
my
uppercuts
range.
too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Uppercut into full combo is just okay. You know,
Game Super is really good for with punishing from full screen. You can't do things full screen like
It's
you
just a frame
you see a
trap, right?
projectile full screen, you shoot it, you get it right. Like so, even zoning her, playing a zoning war against her is hard.
I could see her dominate. I could see her dominating Angelique now. When I think about it.
Oh yeah.
It's
I think
just
she
like
does.
the air beam, right? Because she could shoot ahead of her too. It's not just downwards. So you could shoot Angelique out the air.
And with short hop, you have a lot more room to do it in the air too. Like all that.
Yeah, and short hop does beat low. So if you go for a low and she's short hopping, she is airborne, so she can hit you for it. You gotta be wary of that. Because a lot of characters like to sweep. So
I think she's pretty good.
I think her only weakness is some of her normals don't do a lot. That's about it. That's all I got.
She's got kind of dorky little punches.
Yeah, that's about it. She combos out of her throws, so you can't block her forever. She has the overhead, so you can't block,
She's got throw mix
forever.
Throws that lead to throw mix is my favorite part.
Yeah.
So if anybody's doing a grab, the grab where
you can't zone her. She got Beam Super. She's the best all rounder. If you want to go with an all rounder, she is the best all rounder in the game.
Yeah.
By bar none.
For sure. All right. Next is Nako. Little boy blue, come blow your horn. I don't know. I think he's good, but he was really good. Was it you, Rave, playing him before the reset patch? But now
that was me. I am the Nako menace of Merfight. I apologize for nothing.
No, it's all good. I think Nako's strong, but without the resets that you were able to do, I think he's just kind of, I think he's kind of middle of the road. I think there are characters that can do what he does a little bit better, but he does have that flexibility, right? Like, I think Odon is a better rushdown character, but Odon doesn't have the kind of keep away or, not even just keep away, but like right out of your reach kind of harassment that Nako can do. What do you folks think? Rave, why don't you start? Because you played them the most.
Yeah. So for Nako has the easiest combos, I would say. He can get a lot for like no bar because of Rekka, heavy Rekka, and it launches. You can get a lot. He has poison. He's the only one with poison in his kit, so he can slowly but surely tick you down. He can left right you. He gets a lot of mix with pop, but he doesn't do well with zoning. Even though he has a projectile, he doesn't do well against zoning. He doesn't do well against big buttons. So like something like Arctina and Bolt, GG are very hard for him to deal with. And in a recent patch, he also his projectile got slower, so it's also harder to do projectile wars with him.
Okay.
Because it did get slower.
But
I think that he could get things done. Like once Nako is that character, once he starts going really fast, and it's hard to stop him. Because again, he's also a character that can combo out of his grab, and his grab also can lead to a mix, right?
Yeah.
Like the big reset nerf was because of Nako. Nako had like extremely powerful mix.
Yeah.
I will not lie. It was
off a standing light kick, right? Standing light kick had so little hit stun in the air that standing they would just reset immediately.
Hit stun. at a point, crouch light kick was plus. So
Oh yeah.
it was safe mix at a point.
Yeah.
Too.
That's always
Oh
fun.
boy.
It was
Yeah.
it was a time. It was.
Remember,
Neko
those
had a
numbers
fun
matter.
time.
Those numbers matter. They might not be
Those
fun.
numbers definitely matter.
but they matter.
Meaty grabs. It was a time, but now
Yeah,
I think Neko is definitely on. Not like obviously being on the low end doesn't mean he's bad, but he's definitely on the low end.
Yeah.
It's like you get the hit, and it's fine. His lights are fast enough or far enough actually, where he can punish some things and get a combo. Poison's really strong, but
And chip
being-
kills. He's one of the only players who can
kills,
like
yep, he's the best
reliably
at it.
chip
You
kill.
can set up chip kills very easily,
Yep.
especially with slow fireball now.
Yep.
Like you get them down, it's like, well, they're taking poison damage. They have to take this hit. There's nothing they can do.
Exactly.
You trade with fireball, so
He just gets them
otherwise
quicker,
it's
right?
like in neutral he struggles. When he is the aggressor, he is really dominant. But in neutral, he struggles a lot because everyone has bigger buttons.
His
better
uppercut has kind of
projectiles.
like a vertical hitbox, so if they're right in front of you, it might miss. Not as bad as
Yep.
GG's, but yeah, for sure.
It's kind of awkward.
All right. Any other comments on Neko? I mean, I think we've covered him pretty well. I'd say he's like Arctina, but not as good.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Did we mention the double overhead that he has, where he does the universal and then into the special normal head?
Oh yeah, he can do that.
That's
Yeah, I
not
don't
an
know if- I
overhead.
don't know if the special's an overhead.
Oh,
That chick is not an overhead. That's a
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. So there you go. It's like
Never
icicle.
mind.
If it looks like it hits away, then it does, even if you don't have to block it that way.
No, it's
But
not an
he-
overhead.
He in the air though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
It looked
Ever
like
since
it.
I
The
started
super one
playing
is,
the
though.
game last year, it's never been an overhead since I've been playing.
No, it hasn't. The
Okay.
super one is though, right? So if they
Yeah, the super was an overhead. The
if they
super
block
was an
it
overhead.
low, you can go okay.
Yeah,
fine. Sure.
Okay.
but yeah.
All right.
Never
well,
mind then.
that's all good.
Yeah, I agree with what Rave said. Yeah.
All right. So we have Octonia, the grappleriest grappler. I'm gonna go ahead and just put her in C tier, and that's not to say she's bad.
Yeah, I mean, last time I played you, you bodied me for like 20. Yeah.
I think
I kept losing the air to air.
I think
it's because I was
might
trying
be
to do.
good.
Well, yeah, yes, of course. I'm not taking that away.
Okay,
I just
okay, I just wanted to say
I just
that.
remembered.
Yeah.
The
yeah, the funny
situation
thing
was-
is,
Sorry.
sorry.
Finish this up. Finish your comment, Sylvie.
Yeah, I'll be quick, but I just remembered going air to air. I think it's because I was doing heavy punch,
Mhm.
so I was doing a slow normal, and I remember that normal getting nerfed. But I just remembered one of the last tournament matches we played. I was like, oh my god,
Just getting beat. Yeah,
he knows.
for sure. All right, Warhog. What
It
were you up
was
to?
scary.
yeah, I was also gonna say like I mentioned, I had played against Octonia earlier, and MKL did kind of beat me up quite a bit as Octonius.
For sure.
But I also feel like other games have just trained me to just assume grapplers are low tier. But
Yeah, I mean, I think
one thing I have noticed is that I think some of the grab range can be a little deceptive on like the
Mhm.
jump and grab move,
sure
like just a touch beyond what it looks like.
the stunner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, I think her biggest issue is also her biggest benefit, which is that all of her best stuff is like stuff that other people can do, which is fine. But like, she excels in damage, she excels in grab mix-ups, and that's kind of it. I
Yeah.
think, you know what I mean. She excels in having a long universal overhead, but that's, Arctina and Angelique do that better, right? So like, I don't think she's bad, but I think she's the worst, potentially the worst of the three main grapplers. And what she does really well, like I think she does the most damage in the game. Like I think that's pretty clear. She just does explosive amount of damage, but it doesn't really matter if everyone else is killing in 3 hits anyway, right? Like, so that's kind of where I stand.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, Octonia is kind of the most pure grappler.
Exactly.
She does have the tools to like do a bit of contesting at range and get in just so she can be a contender, but she's
It's
not
obvious,
quite
right?
as
Like when she does it, it's obvious
Yes.
she's trying to
yeah,
contest
yeah,
you.
exactly.
And she has some
Yeah, but,
mix-ups, but even that, like, it's like either stunner or a tick throw. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, her approach is a bit linear.
for sure. All right.
And so it's like, it's just like she's still a contender and good, but just maybe not quite as many options as other people.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think one thing we want people to take away from this tier list too is that if a character is like at the bottom, we don't want the people that look at the tier list to think that the character is like bad.
Yeah. No.
Like,
it's just comparative.
unplayable. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
No.
It's like if
Yeah.
the same player of the exact same skill with all the characters played 100 matches, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. It's only
Yeah.
because other characters do what she does slightly better, slightly easier, you know, any number of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to do something controversial and throw Odon in S, and you guys are going to tell me why that's false. I don't know. Maybe.
Wow,
We'll
yeah,
see.
that
What do
is
you folks think?
controversial for me.
What do you folks think?
Well, I kind of feel like to counter your argument, I need to know what it is.
Oh, okay.
Give me your pitch for Odin as S tier.
Okay. I can pitch. I can
Uh,
sell you a pen. I got you. So we got a standing low. We have some of the fastest specials moving across the screen. We have, honestly, he doesn't need an air game because he has a really great uppercut. He has amazing combos. Because of the way his combos work, they're all like single hit specials that do a ton of damage, so they scale really well. And Statue is probably the best move in the game.
Pillar's scary.
Yeah, like putting up Pillar is why I put him in S. If he had no Pillar, he would be like bottom of A or mid A. A Pillar is, I think, the definitive reason. Like, I'm gonna say this in the most polite way I can. Matt designed the game to avoid sticky Oki situations, and this is one of the stickiest Oki situations I've ever fucking seen. Right? It's like dirty as hell. And not only is it a dirty Oki tool, but it is a really good defensive tool, right? So it's not like Aegis Reflector, where it's like, oh well, it was supposed to be defensive, but in reality people use it for offense. No. It can do both. It's totally fine doing both. So yeah, I think Odon is A, but Statue is S.
Yeah, I do think. Oh, sorry. You go first.
I keep saying stuff right as you say something. Sorry. I was gonna say like Pillar, like when Pillar's out, like the opponent has to play around it,
Yeah.
and it takes 3 hits to destroy it for the opponent, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
It's like
it's
so
very
crazy.
much like, if you're like,
you
I'm
just
gonna
said that and it
chisel
like
at it.
actually clicked in my head how nuts that is.
If you're like someone's like, oh, I'll chisel at it, I'll like.
No,
do some
you
hits
won't.
here and there. And then it's like, lol, you idiot.
There are no 3-hit moves that are that fast.
And then
Like,
if you're trying to hit Odon and he's like in the pillar, or like if you're like with like Artina and you have like if you're big ass buttons and
Yep.
he's like Odon maybe like in front of it, but your normal still like hits the pillar behind him, and then
yeah.
Odon doesn't even have to like worry about it. It just eats the hit,
Yeah.
and Odon's just like, lol, idiot.
And Matt nerfed
I
his
miss the
uppercuts,
Artina
right?
Ice Pillar that work the same way, basically.
Ice pillar was just like
Ice Pillar
you
used to be
can't
really
jump
good. Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
Old ice
Yeah.
pillar.
Yeah,
No jumping.
so yeah, I can definitely relate to that being a very powerful tool. I will say to use that as projectile, you do kind of have to give it up, so it looks like there's a trade-off there.
Yeah,
I'd say that's
think
its worst use, personally.
yeah.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
either
You
an
don't really wanna do that
anti-projectile
anyway.
tool, just blocking stuff from a distance, or it's locking down your opponent's options. Because, I mean, you wake up into Statue, what do? You grab, right? Like, that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you grab.
Yeah, I
You
feel
Yeah.
like that's
try to grab, but if he like presses a button,
Yeah.
then it
If he
grab,
does
right? 'Cause then
anything,
he breaks,
yeah.
like, because the thing is that even though the opponent takes 3 hits to break the statue, he takes 1. So if he
Yeah.
hits it, he breaks it. Rock comes out, you get punished.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and if they
That's
do it
great.
on your wake up, you can't DP it, right? Because you DP, you hit the rock, he punishes,
Yeah.
right?
And
So
he
that's the thing,
punishes
right?
with
Like,
more rocks now that you've hit it.
Yeah. And then you get full combo, and it's not like he doesn't have a hard time getting a hard knockdown. He's a character that quickly gets a hard knockdown from most of his combos. So
Anybody with easy
hits
access
you-
to a wall bounce or a ground bounce can just loop.
Yep,
it, right?
easy access to a wall bounce, easy access to
yeah,
a
I think he has
launcher.
that too. Yeah,
So-
I'm trying to remember what experience I've had facing Odons. I feel like I haven't quite faced one who was making specific use of the pillar, but also just the value of being in your face is very high.
Yeah, it
You
is.
can do that
Yeah.
well.
What I said about Octonia, like where Rave was destroying people with Octonia. The same applies to Odon, except Odon is S tier. So like
Yeah,
seeing Rave play Odon is like, oh no, I should just stop playing for a while. Like I need to reevaluate my
It's
game
because
plan.
also like you would think that obviously Odon's a boxer character. He doesn't. He struggles against zoning, right? And statue in I would assume in original design was meant to help him against zoning, help him walk in.
Yeah.
Well, you can use statue to help him block it, and you can charge, and then charge dash punch is more or less a full charge dash punch super is more or less a full screen. So
yeah, it's like
if you look
Superman,
at,
super.
yeah, if you
Justice.
look at my match versus Mib at the $1,000 tournament, you can see me use it a lot, and it's like to check fireballs at certain ranges. Like you can punish fireballs for trying to fight you. So he beats zoning too. Like he can beat. He has a tool for everything, right?
Is it this iframes for every move when he does that, or only projectiles?
What do you
every
mean?
move.
You statue?
Like if you time it right,
when he does
Oh.
can
the lunge-
iframe the move.
Okay.
Because it's like it's trying to travel like the startup time from what the data tells me in the game, it doesn't change when you're charging or not. So the startup time is still the same and the iframe placement is still the same. It's just where are you going if you're charged or not.
It might also be a thing of like your hitbox just isn't there, right?
Yeah,
if you're
'cause
going so fast and the fireball's going fast, you might just clip and not even
You just
touch.
like that's pretty much it. Like
Yeah.
I go through the fireball because my body's not there.
The next
and I
frame,
punish
I'm
your recovery.
over there. Yeah.
Yep, pretty much. And it's like you could check buttons from like how Gigi can check buttons with her super. You can check buttons with your super.
sure.
You can check projectiles with your super, and it can get really scary. It gets really hard to fight Odon with resources.
Yeah, I am trying to think. Though, because I not with his super, but I think with his special, I have checked his like lunge punch with like standing heavy punch with Arctina. So sometimes
You
I
can
feel
grab
like
it, too.
As like a, yeah, it's like if the Odon is being predictable, it's like okay, I can like check them if they're trying to lunge too much, but then they can also mix that up.
Yeah. And 8/8
Yeah.
pop cancel. Like everyone in the game has a dragon rush or whatever from Dragon Ball Z if they really want it, you know? So
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and also I feel like his supers do like smoothly combo into each other.
Yep.
With
Yes.
the super to super cancels.
And if you
Yeah.
don't want the ground bounce, you can cancel it early. It's really, the way they're all designed is really fluid.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't think anybody's arguing that he's not S tier. I think we all agreed.
Only
So I think
other
you made your case.
only other issue I could think of is I remember playing against Black Atlas.
Yeah.
Against his Odon, and I think it happened to other Odons too. Sometimes his in-air special can sometimes be inconsistent.
For sure.
Like sometimes he'll like.
Oh,
try to,
the triple kick.
The uppercut, yeah.
Not the triple kick.
Oh, okay.
The one where he like goes forward but he like punches upwards.
Oh, yeah, the
Sometimes-
launcher. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
upward
Sometimes
punch, yeah,
people will use that as like an in-air, and
Mhm.
sometimes Arctina will beat it. But I also feel like that's a general like anti-airs are kind of weird in this game.
Yeah.
Because it's also
Yeah.
I kind of have that issue with like if I want to do crouching heavy punch with Arctina as an anti-air, it just like
Mhm.
sometimes just get beaten out. You know. So
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
like that's one thing I would change after the, obviously the game's out of early access, but I would love to go through and just tweak some of the hurt spheres on some of the anti-air buttons. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just to
Give me
give them a
palm
little bit
2A
more.
or
Yeah,
2B. Palm 2B.
for sure. All right, so we've had a good old time with this. We only have 2 characters left, so let's get it on through. And then if you still have some energy in you folks, then we can run some first to 5s. Otherwise, I totally understand. And just so everyone else knows, since we're still here, we will be running a casual lobby at 8 o'clock. We were going to do a Merfight Beginner's Brawl, but we did not have enough players. So if anybody wants to just show up and play some lobby matches, then feel free around 8 o'clock EST. Okay, so Ro. Honestly, I don't know. Like somewhere in B?
I'm trying to remember who was the person that played Ro, because I feel like the Ro was decent.
Matt?
Matt
played
played
Ro.
Ro, yes,
Yo,
but there was
Bast-
another player.
Yo, Bastine?
Yeah,
I think
Bastine,
we-
yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you
Who's
saying, Will?
Cam?
Oh, I was gonna say I know Libidor briefly picked him up
Yes.
in early access to show how broken he was at that time, which got patched.
Yes,
He's
Q.
been very heavily adjusted
for sure.
over early access.
What were you saying, Matt?
Keobass plays them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think they're bad. It's another one of those characters that's B because of what everyone else has, less so than what they have, right? It's just a
Yeah.
comparative thing. I think they have a lot of options, but they're less simple, I think, than most characters, and they're more varied, right? So you kind of have to pick your spots, and that takes some learning. And I think that's the only reason I'd put him in B.
Yeah, like the big thing is his ice pillars that he calls out of the ground, which hit at very specific ranges that you don't really have a clear visual indicator for. And so I was thinking that, like, you know, like even for the best row player, it's not reasonable for them to expect to hit it like every time, because if you assume an opponent of equal skill, then they know the ranges too. They know how to interact with that.
I do think that his Fireball Reflect could be buffed. I think at the moment it takes the first hit of the Fireball and then makes another Fireball that has one hit itself, if that's my understanding. So if somebody throws a Bolt Fireball at him, he's going to reflect the first hit and then get hit by the other 30. That's my understanding. So like there are some game states that I would wish that it was better, the Reflect. But other than that, I wouldn't change anything about him. I think it's really just I haven't seen enough of him, and other players, other characters have other tools that are either easier or better.
Yeah, I was watching some row matches on MKO's stream earlier, and that was kind of reminding me that when he does get in with meter, he can combo some supers together well, like his Manta Ray spinning thing.
Yeah.
That goes nicely after stuff like his crouching heavy kick.
He also has the big
It's
wind-up
like, you know,
armor
he-
move.
Yeah,
It's really good.
and then it's like, you know, he's got a bit of corner carry with the big field of icicles. He can do the spin to keep you with him.
Is that the name of the move? Because if not, that's a great. I want that as the name.
Well, I think
Big Field of Icicles is a great name.
yeah, no, that's not the name. It's something nautical themed though,
Got it.
or like
Funny icicle
aquatic, you know.
Special beam cannon. All right. I think we've talked enough about Roe, but we all kind of understand he's not bad, but nobody's really proven his worth, right? At least not yet. So, all right. Speaking of not proving their worth, there's Strike, who I think is really good, but also kind of suffered from the Mibidor syndrome of being the character that Mibidor thought was really good. They were really good, and then they got slightly changed until Mibidor stopped playing them. So that's not to say that wasn't on purpose. Like, I do think that Mibidor did his job and proved that Strike had some things that were a little weird about him. But ultimately,
Yeah,
I
like the
think he's still
like the whole
pretty good.
system of deliberately draining, like the whole system
Yes.
of meter drain that he had before just proved to be a little too powerful with
Yeah.
this game's meter systems.
Yeah, on that note, I'm
And,
going to put
like-
him at the bottom of A, because I think he's the best grappler, but that's
Yeah.
not the greatest look in a fighting game anyway. So,
I still think like
Yeah.
his projectile stuff and like
mhm.
putting you in that situation where it's like, oh, I'm gonna jump his projectile, and then he's like a little anti-air grab.
I wish it was still
Or
a
like-
2-hit projectile. That was great.
Yeah, I just gotta say, his jumping forward grab thing,
Yeah.
that move does just not make any sense to me. Like, I swear he just loses his hurt box
He
during
does.
that.
He does. he absolutely does.
Okay, yeah.
That it's like certain.
Yeah.
I think for certain frames, you either can't be hit or can't be hit by certain things.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's just such a frustrating move to try to keep out. And like, I am an Arctina main, the annoying keep people out with melee moves
Yeah.
character.
Exactly. No, I mean, I think he's a lot of fun, right? Some of the things to make note of are plus on block jab. Obviously, being a command grab character, that's really good. He has a forward moving dash move. That, you know, he also has an uppercut, which is his heavy version of that. He just has everything, right? He has a fireball. He has an anti-air move. He has an anti-air move. He has an anti-air move. He's got he's got one of the smallest hurt boxes with his crouching light punch or light punch or light kick. I don't remember exactly which one.
Once you got your opponent scared to jump, that's when you do the funny command grab.
Yeah,
Slam to the
exactly.
ground.
Also, that funny command grab combos in the corner, right? There's just a lot of things you can do. Does he have an anti-air move? He's got a couple. Lots of them. Yeah, I mean, I think he's just a really good character, right? He's just a solid pick, and although he is a grappler, like you said before, Will, he's not like stuck to that game plan.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to remember. So it's that. Does he still have the mechanic where his fireballs get bigger when he has like 2 meter?
It's 3 meter.
3 meter.
Yeah, it's Giovanna from
Okay, it's
Guilty
at
Gear
max
Strive.
meter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he used to also gain invisibility, I believe, on his forward-moving dashes, but now that's only on his goofy grab, whatever we're calling it. I think it's dolphin dive, right? But and the other one, the anti-air grab. So when he gets to 3 bars, he gains, I think, more damage, bigger hit sphere, and invisibility on some of his moves. But the invisibility is good too, right? Because it's a duration. You can pop cancel, keep that invisibility, and all of a sudden your uppercut, basically, on block. Not your uppercut, but you know what I mean, your anti-air move. If it whiffs, you just dash cancel any direction. You're invisible. And you get free mix. After, I mean, it's not an OS, but you know what I mean? It's like, are you in the air? No. Okay, I got an invisible mix. If you're in the air, I just get a combo. You know?
Yeah, exactly. It's just very devious. So, but with how much wrapping up his strengths, I guess now we need to explain why he's not an S tier, which like
doesn't have a statue. I mean, that's simple.
Yeah, and I mean, he also, I mean, you know, the invisible mix does require full meter.
Yeah.
So like, he goes away once he does a super off of it.
It's true. That is definitely noteworthy for sure. All right, folks, I really appreciate you taking the time. I think we all generally agree on this. Is there anybody that's out of place? Right? Anybody that's like super, whoa, that just doesn't make any sense?
I'm trying to think if in B tier, I'm trying to think if Angelique should be in front of Gamma.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I have no issue with that.
Yeah, I think Anja's just a giant asterisk anyway, so...
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
not
there are a
gonna
lot of
really
characters that need
contest
more
any
work, yeah.
Specifics of her. Yeah, I do wonder if... Well, I do know that the idea is just to get every tier filled, but I do wonder if maybe we're underrating Octonia a bit, but you know, we've emphasized that she's still good.
Yeah, I mean, I could even
Because it's just, you know,
put Atlas
the
down
tier
there
list
too if
look-
we really wanted to. You know, yeah, you're right. That
Yeah, it's just,
delineation
you know,
between
like
the two is irrelevant.
But like, you know, I think the tier list just makes it look more dramatic than what we actually discussed,
Sure.
which is just the nature of tier lists.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
actually wasn't in here when you guys talked about Atlas. Is there? I'm trying to think why he's at like the bottom of B.
He just started in
We-
B, and that's where I mean, every time I put someone in B, I was like, I think they're stronger than Atlas at this point. But he was
I'm
kind
trying
of
to
the
remember-
everyman that isn't Gigi. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I do feel like Atlas does like he feels like a GG and a Neko almost.
Yeah.
'Cause he has the Rekkas too, right?
Not really, but kind of.
No.
No, he has like
Okay.
2 hit Rekkas, if you want to call it that. He has a normal that
Okay.
looks a lot like his special.
I remember. I don't know if it's still in the game, but I remember he would spend 2 bars
Mhm.
and blow up my health with the explosion.
It's-
super.
Yeah,
Yeah, he has that.
You'd
The
still do
only
that.
Yeah, he
level
still
2
has
super.
that. Yeah, you just lose like 300 health for like.
It is exactly
bars.
that, yeah.
I
Yeah, I
spend 2
guess-
bars, you lose 300 health. I think that's a good trade.
and
I
depending on when you do it,
healing.
you're healing. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, yeah, healing.
Exactly,
Yeah.
He's healing during the process too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So he's
Yeah.
once again, he's not bad, but like Octonia, a ton of damage isn't really unique, right? It's not something that you can really stand on, unless it just
Yeah, it
if
is a
it like
little
touch of
unique.
death somebody, sure, but otherwise,
Yeah, I think it is a little unique in like how he goes about doing it, and like
sure.
and like Neko, he just has a way of messing with the health bars that can get in your head.
That makes sense. All right. Well, since we all seem to be in agreement, I think this is a good place to stop the discussion here. I really appreciate this. I'm going to move over to a lobby where we are going to get some first to 5 matches in. Obviously, this is up to you folks. If you want to drop, you can. I know it's been a while. This is a pretty long cast, but I appreciate y'all taking the time. And
And I just got here.
hey, perfect.
Yeah, I need to go head out and eat. So
Hey, not an
I'll
issue.
see you guys later.
See you later. Well, thanks for joining.
I have to run
been
as well, but good luck with the lobbies, and I'll try to join in around maybe later.
All right.
We'll see.
Hey, sounds good. We'll see you then.
See ya.
Thanks, Matt. All right.
Oh, that was fun. Nice to meet you. Nice to say hi. Bye.
Yeah. Thanks for
Bye.
thanks for joining. All right. So, Rave, Sylvie, do you want to start?
Sure.
All right. I mean, I can start too if you want, but I haven't even like had a clear thought since I got off work. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, we'll do it first to 5. And...
All right.
Yeah.
Grow.